Joseph picks up in what he says to them in verses 4 through 8 of Genesis chapter 45. This passage is one of the, to me, seminal moments, not just in the book of Genesis, but throughout the Bible, because it shows us God's power and God's sovereignty and God's hand moving across time and creation in His plan, and how He will use what man may deem for evil, He will use for good. He says in verse 4, "Please come closer," He said to them, so they came closer. And He said again, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. But don't be upset and don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. This famine that has ravaged the land for 2 years will last 5 more years. There will be neither plowing nor harvesting. God sent me ahead of you to keep you and your families alive, to preserve many survivors. So it was God who sent me here, not you. And He is the one who made me an advisor to Pharaoh, the manager of his entire palace, and the governor of all of Egypt." So as I look at this, here's really kind of how I see it. God's sovereign hand here guiding what men intended for evil. Because trust me, these brothers were not intending for things to turn out well for Joseph when they sold him into slavery 20 years ago. They wanted to be rid of him. They didn't care if he lived. They didn't care if he died. They didn't care anything about him. They got some money for him, and off to the races they went. They didn't care. But God saw past all that. So that's what God will do sometimes. God will use what man intends for evil, even for His own good. Some things that we can see from this, one from history that I've noticed over the years, being a history buff and, just reading, just all the time, reading history books and things and studying and enjoying understanding and knowing about those things and learning about them. A couple of them that stick out to me. One goes back to the Holocaust in World War II, and the just incredible atrocities committed against the Jewish people by the Nazis. I've read books and watched quite a few documentaries and things about concentration camps and things, wanting to understand and know how and why these things happen. And it was just brutal, and this was man being evil. But coming out of that, what did God do? God took what they intended for evil, and He used even that, not ordaining it, not that He was behind it, not that He endorsed it. It was evil, it was wrong, it was sin. We are absolutely clear on that. But God took what even man in his free will intended to be evil, and He used that to, at the end of the day, guide the Israelites, guide the Jews back to the promised land. And today there is a nation of Israel sitting in the same place where these brothers lived. These men that we're talking about right here, back to the land of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Judah, Levi, Simeon, Benjamin, Reuben, going all the way back to these guys. It's fascinating to see that nothing that we do can cause God's plan, God's overall plan for mankind, for history, for creation, to be altered in a way that God can't handle it. He's in control. He's in control here. These brothers sent him there, sent him to Egypt to get rid of him, to watch him die, so they would never have to see him again. Because I imagine the life expectancy for a slave in Egypt wasn't exactly, 85 years or something. But yet God said, oh no. Here you are trying to do this for evil, but watch what I'm going to do with it. I have a purpose behind even what you do that's wrong. And God used that to save not only the families of Joseph's brothers, but also to save countless others. God was providing. And sometimes God will use the most unlikely of things to bring about His purposes. And we'll continue to talk about that as we go through Scripture. See you guys soon.